Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a Tuesday night, July 2nd, 2024, about 11:14 p.m. here, California time. Latest activity here on the Earthquake 3D globe shows, see what we got here. A little earthquake around the Mediterranean. We'll get to this here in just a little bit. I want to cover activity here in Northern California, where we're watching a pretty significant fire here around the city of Oroville. There is mandatory evacuations up and down here of the Oroville region, even including Oregon City up here. Oroville Dam sits right about here. So we have seen some significant progress here in terms of fire advancement. The latest update here on the acres burned, as far as the perimeter goes, about 3,600 acres for the Thompson fire, which started back over here suspiciously out of the blue. And you know me and suspicious fires here. I like to get to the bottom of it. And right now there's no official word on why this fire started. But it seems as though all the counties out here have gathered up together to group up and provide support here for this fire that's taken place out here in Oroville. And that's good news, but I've never seen that happen before in the past. A little odd. Definitely a little odd. Maybe this is going to be something bigger than what we realize. So right now, let's look at the mandatory evacuations, which extend up here on the northern end of Lake Oroville. You can see in the red area, the red outline, those are mandatory orders to get out. Because they feel, the official folks there feel that the fire is going to extend into this northern region and potentially burn up into this area. There's been numerous attacks here on the fire from fire tankers and whatnot, but to be honest, it doesn't seem like anything has happened as far as fire suppression goes. But I'm not on the ground, but it seems like time and time again these fire suppression attacks seem to do very minimal at best. 0% containment, 3,600 acres as of a couple hours ago. I'm sure this fire has doubled by now. The fire originally started here, the Thompson fire, but look how far it has extended north and south here. The Kelly Ridge area of Oroville is right here. Now, the perimeter of the fire, I'm going to show you guys here real quick the perimeter of the fire, which is it's in a different outline out here. You can barely see it. I'm going to outline it here for you guys on the fire chart, and it extends over here as well. So the perimeter fire is a little bit different than what the satellite imagery is picking up. And the satellite imagery is picking up some hot spots out here. This is the area here for a hot spot. Further areas down here in terms of fire advancement, and also up here north around this region is some fire advancement. But the official fire perimeter is located here in their official line. But it takes hours and sometimes a couple hours for them to update the perimeter line and let the public know what's going on in terms of the fire. So this fire is more a hazard than what I think most people are thinking out here, because it has a potential to do some catastrophic damage out here. We are getting an expected strong north wind event tonight, which will push this fire further into the city of Oroville, further down south into highly populated regions as well. As you can see, they have mandatory evacuation orders out here in place already because of that potential of that fire spread that may take place here tonight if they don't get a handle on it. Again, the mandatory evacuations are here in the red evacuation warnings here in this area in the yellow. But as you can see here, there's a broad area of Oroville, north and south here of the area, including all of Kelly Ridge here, that should be out of the region by now. It's unfortunate, definitely unfortunate for the folks out here across the area. There's a lot of dry brush, a lot of undergrowth out here, but it bugs me. It really bugs me as to why we have not seen any fire suppression out here. Again, I'm not on the ground, but they have been attacking this from aerial views all day. All day long with aerial tankers, huge tankers, water tankers, fire retardant tankers, and they haven't even made not even a little glitch of progress. And it's extending here into the Kelly Ridge area. You can see the latest hotspot area here for the satellite imagery coming into the Kelly Ridge. So, again, I'm not on the ground, but I find that rather odd that there's so much attempts here and nothing's going on. We don't see any effects from the firefighting aspects of it, aerial attacks and whatnot. I like to be the observer. I like to be optimistic here, but when you fly over with thousands of gallons of fire retardant and nothing happens here, no progress made, one comes to question the what's going on. What is this, just for show? Is it just to stir up the wind to make more fire, or what? It's I don't want to go into deep down the rabbit hole, but this almost seems like it's a set-up deal here. We got a very strong north wind kicking up. This fire started on the northern side here of Oroville. This is the perfect storm, so to speak, in terms of producing a similar Paradise campfire event. A lot of folks remember the Paradise campfire, right? Burned down Paradise up there. A lot of folks lost their lives up there. Had a very short amount of time frame to get out. And this has the potential for it. Once these winds kick up overnight and tomorrow, if they don't get a catch up on this in terms of containment, we're going to see Oroville pretty much burned down out here. And that's why all these folks are underneath mandatory evacuation. I don't know. I'm not a firefighter. I have taken fire science classes here in college before. A couple fire science classes, and I understand the chemistry of fire and the dynamics that it takes to, have all the fire ingredients at hand, and which we do. We got very dry, hot conditions out here, and at times windy. Tonight windy, and tomorrow windy as well. But the fire retardant out here should suppress some of the fire growth. There's a whole process, chemistry involved with this fire retardant that they're dropping out of these aerial tankers. And it's not just one swoop, it's multiple swoops out here. And, I don't know if I've seen any type of, hoorah, yay, go firefighters. I haven't seen that. Look at the current fire view out here. I'm going to show you guys the... we're going to go back to the last 12 hours, okay? We got to watch this. We really do. This is just one webcam view here of the Oroville fire. This is looking from Rattlesnake Peak north here to Oroville, and we'll watch this progress to the current time period. And you'll see various... There was a hawk right there, it looks like, but various air tankers coming in, and nothing going on, no suppression whatsoever out here at all. It's very unfortunate. Multiple tankers after tankers coming in, and it almost looks like it stirs it up. It almost looks like it gets worse after the air tankers come in. I'm not even joking. It might be taboo to say that, but yeah. So as the sun goes down there across the west coast, the fire is visible out here in the night view. And we come to the live view, which is coming up here soon. And live is right there. So obviously we can see that there's still a very active current fire here. Very active fire there. Across the Oroville region, and that is just one camera. Let's go back to the last 12 hours here, and we'll play this. Let me make sure refresh this. It's a horrible, absolutely horrible scenario. Is this the one I just played? I think it is. But yeah, there's no. Oroville's right here. This is when it blew up. This is Oroville Dam. This is looking. I don't know why they turned the camera here, but yeah, this is looking south. Oroville Dam right here. The fire spreading towards Kelly Ridge over here, and it's goodness. There's the stars out there setting. Very active. Look at the wind switch here. Noticing a wind switch back from the east, headed to the west here. There's all sorts of weird fire behavior going on right now. Let's check this out here real quick. All I know is the north wind is getting ready to really ramp up here tonight. It's coming. Look at that. Just north of Willows here. Oh man, these are current temperatures out here for nighttime. Nighttime current temperatures out here. Oroville sits down here where the fire is. Right now, there's not a whole lot of wind, but if you notice, there's a wind coming down from the slopes, from the mountains, higher elevation downslope here. Eventually, that will change, and it will stir up a lot of wind environment out here and create some very dangerous fire conditions out here, which could spread the fire further south. Right now, as we look here in the day on Wednesday tomorrow, we got a pretty strong northwest wind here, which should push the fire further down to the southeast here. Pending they don't get any major containment, but oh man, it's one of those things, folks, where you want to kind of scream out loud and voice your opinion out here, but at the same time, you don't want to spark up any major ill will, so to speak, out here, because a lot of people's lives are at stake, their family, their livelihoods. A lot of good people out here in Oroville. Well, Oroville does have a bad name for drugs and crime and stuff like that, but there's a lot of good people out here. A lot of families and kids that don't deserve to see their houses and stuff like that burned down at all. But there's a reason why they're extending all these mandatory evacuations north and south here, because I have a feeling they already know that this thing's going to explode and burn quite a bit more than what we're seeing tonight. I think tomorrow morning, when we report back here, we're going to see an extensive amount in terms of coverage out here. The fire obviously has extended up here to the Oroville Dam. Here's the headquarters for the Department of Water Resources up here. It does look like that area is in the fire perimeter, or very close to it. So that means that these places may not be there no more, but they are operating remotely in terms of monitoring and releasing the water flow out here. But I believe they've shut off the that power plant that's down here. They shut that off for now because of power issues. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It just sparked up out of the blue. Look where this fire started out here next to these guys' house. Why? What happened out here? Was there a firework? There was no lightning. There's no severe weather out. There's no weather at all out here. And for one to think that a piece of glass out in a field is going to start a fire. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried to start a fire with a piece of glass from a beer bottle or an old Pepsi type of bottle? I have broken bottles out my field all over the place. Yeah, I've had probably a couple wild nights out here over the years. I'm not going to deny that. But I've never had a fire out here. The attempt to start a fire with a broken piece of glass is a million to one. You have to, dude, it would be hard, very hard to start a fire with a piece of glass out here in a dry field. So, suspicion, big time suspicion going on out here. And with many fires, how, why, what? There doesn't make sense. There's no reason for a fire to start out here in the middle of a field next to no road. Nobody was there. Hello. People need to start acting or start asking why these fires are started and to go into more detail. There's not enough people. More people are saying, "Oh, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone," and that's it. And they leave it at that. We need to go into more detail as to why these fires are starting. Who's starting these fires and why? Is it political? It's I can understand if there's lightning storms out here, but there's no darn lightning storms out here. Hello. Wasn't a major wind event out here either. We had probably winds around 10, 15 miles per hour out here. It's not like it's a strong 50, 60 mile per hour winds and it blows down power lines and we blame it on PG&E. That's not what took place out here. This is very suspicious here. I think more people need to ask why. Why did this happen? What is the start of that? But we never really hear about it, right? Oh, we hear some homeless person a couple months down the road started, a fire out here in Oroville. But, I think there should be major transparency here with stuff like this. Before this fire even grew to a major large fire, we had multi-counties out here. Glenn County, Colusa County, Tehama County, Shasta County. We had probably 5 or 6 counties out here proclaiming that they're going to help out the Thompson fire there. I've never seen that. Why all of a sudden is there a multi-county response going on for a fire 60, 70 miles away from their county? That's never been done. Why wouldn't they be on guard here at home? Why wouldn't they be on guard for their home county? Think about that. What is up with that? Why is there multi-county response here for a fire around Oroville? I've never ever seen that in my life here amongst a major fire hazard potential out here. Why wouldn't you want to be stationed at home here just in case something happens? So there's a lot of suspicious activity going on amongst the fire department, the fire crews, the county and fire department, local and state government officials. It's, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole. I really don't. But it's suspicious. It really, really is, folks. We need to ask why this is happening and pay attention. Pay attention to the locals here. We've seen Butte County Fire, the sheriff of Butte County here, given a response here recently. Either these guys know or they're planning that something major is going to happen here. Because why would multi-county response be applied to this area? It doesn't make sense. I've seen many areas start fires out here, Paradise and further up north, without the response of multi-counties being applied here. Something is going on here. It's a little suspicious. So maybe they're planning on burning down the entire town of Oroville. I don't know. But we need to watch this pretty closely. Watch what happens here over the next 24 hours or so. Because it's getting awfully suspicious here. Pay attention to the movement. That's all I'm saying. A lot of people are like, "Oh, what are you assuming? You're assuming, and blah blah blah." It's those people. Get out of here. You're assuming stuff. No, I'm observing stuff and I'm reporting on stuff out here. There's a lot of suspicious stuff going on out here. All right, so let me refresh this real quick and see what we got here for the they're not going to update this probably till the morning, This number, the acres, should probably double by morning time, because the amount of satellite imagery out here being reported as far as fire hotspots from the perimeter line is pretty much doubled. So this should be at about 6,000 something acres in the morning, if not stronger. Again, winds are coming down slope. That is going to backburn some activity, backburn some material that hasn't been burned. But the strong north wind is supposed to pick up late tonight and throughout tomorrow. So that should potentially push the fire down here into these areas of East Oroville and whatnot. But, you know, goodness, what can you do? What can you do, right? You ask questions, you get squashed. The current data here from the Butte County Sheriff's Office, obviously mandatory evacuations in the red, evacuation warnings in the yellow here. So this is a big deal. They're already preparing for something big. All right, Hawaii. What's going on out here in Hawaii? Oh my gosh, what is up? A lot of red here on the map. 10 kilometers for 2.7. Pretty deep earthquake there, 29 kilometers there. Activity around the Kilauea volcano. So let's see here what's going on across the Kilauea volcano, because we got a lot going on underneath the big island of Hawaii. You know, everyone living the high life out there right now, enjoying the tropic, you know, the Pacific tropic life out there. But, you know, those islands weren't built on, they weren't built on sensitivity. They were built on, you know, some big time stuff out there. Big time geology stuff. So, Kilauea volcano, right? Obviously some major inflation going on, a lot of earthquake activity. The latest deformation data here shows some unusual activity here on the chart. Now, this shows something that is very similar to what you would see with a manual adjustment, right? When a geologist or a seismologist is adjusting equipment out here. This is not normal here. I'm not for sure why they did this here, but it looks as though they took control of the data. The raw data is coming in, manually dropped it, and then adjusted it accordingly. But that is not the raw data coming in. This is some type of manual adjustment there from somebody. I don't know who, but that's a little odd, right? A little suspicious there when it comes to public transparency, right? We want to know what's going on with the data. We provide these guys with jobs, right? Geologists, USGS is paid for by the taxpayers of this great country. They are put into positions to provide us with data relevant to what's going on to their position. And what we see here is a little bit of suspicious activity when they take control of the data and manually adjustment. This is not raw data coming in here. This is a adjustment manually. So it's interesting, very interesting as to why they're doing that. So, you know, what can we believe? What can we believe? Well, we'll believe something when it happens at the surface, right? That will be an obvious visual perspective, and nobody can say, whoa, it didn't happen. Nothing's going on. So, obviously, inflation is still elevated out here. We got earthquake activity out here across the area. Let's check out seismograph stations here. Still, yeah, obviously still a lot of earthquake activity out here. And believe it or not, a lot more. This is the last 12 hours. So there's a lot more here than what is showing up here across the USGS map. A little bit of activity here across the Kilauea Summit area. Now this is kind of interesting as well. Very shallow earthquake activity around the crater region. Something we haven't seen in the last couple weeks here. So, you know, it's with the manual adjustment and the altering of the data, it's hard to decipher on where we're going to see elevated potential eruption activity take place. You know, you can't make an assumption here when people are messing with the data. I just can't deal with it. Unfortunately, I don't have control of it. If I did, I wouldn't allow stuff like that. But there is obviously some altering of the data going on out here across the Kilauea volcano, with some newer earthquake activity here across the crater region. So we'll check back in the morning, see, you know, I don't want to make a final statement on that, but I do want to check back here in the morning and see what's taking place out there. California, Southern California, a couple earthquakes here in the last hour or so. Barstow area seeing a 2.2. Minimal earthquake activity out here at best across Southern California. Northern California, about the same. Mount St. Helens seeing a handful of smaller earthquakes activity out there. The tremor map here tonight continues to show tremor. Obviously, right? 304 epicenters of tremor down here along the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. It's just been that way for the last month or so, probably about the last 6 weeks. So this is the largest tremor event that we've seen here since about 2022 or so. All right, let's see what else we got out here, folks. Yellowstone National Park, got a little swarm going on here. Look at that little centralized swarm. Well, maybe they added a couple earthquakes out here. Let's see what we got for the raw data. I love accessing the raw data because that provides us a very transparent view. And that's it. Handful of earthquakes out here. And there's probably about 7 or 8, right? So 7 or 8 earthquakes there in the mix, but if you count all of these other spikes out here, there's probably double that. And that did show up across the majority of the northwestern corner of Yellowstone National Park. But aside from that, not a whole lot else. Across the rest of the globe here, look at this very interesting earthquake out here in the North Pacific Ocean, just shy of the Kuro-Kamchatka Trench. Now, I've been telling you guys here, this area is very capable of producing a megaquake. I feel this area is very, very primed for a megaquake out here. And these little earthquakes here back prior to the subduction zone could be a good indicator, very good indicator of a major earthquake about ready to take place here. It's a little odd. I haven't seen too much earthquake activity specifically off of the subduction zone like that. Let's check out the historical data. Yeah, as you can see, most of the earthquake activity along the plate boundary. So this is very rare to see this earthquake out here like that. Again, could be a major sign of some very large earthquake activity about ready to take place out here. You know, we always see that. It's almost like at the breaking point. This is so locked and loaded here where we're seeing some fractures out here across the Pacific Plate. So keep an eye on the Kuro-Kamchatka. I've been saying that here for how long? Yeah, for a little while. All right, the rest of the globe here, oh my gosh, super deep earthquake there, 4.5 into the Fiji area. Earlier this evening, we're talking about 620 kilometers deep. Goodness. That's a cycle of deep earthquakes followed up by surface adjustment out here. It's almost like the rinse and repeat cycle out here. It's always taking place out here. Deep earthquake activity followed by an enhancement of further plate boundary movement. That's just how it is out there. A little decent activity here across the northern areas of the Aleutian Trench. A couple 4s out there. All right, let's jump into, I'm going to skip space weather because there's really not a whole lot going on here, folks, in terms of space weather activity. There's no major expected solar storms, no major solar flares out here. So let's jump into Hurricane Beryl. Okay, it's pretty important that we watch Beryl right now because We are looking at Jamaica out there, seeing a potential landfall. It's a significant event possibly taking place there across Jamaica. Hurricane warnings up in effect here for Jamaica and adjacent regions here. Looking at a hurricane watch across the areas of the Mexico region here along the coast. This major hurricane is expected to weaken, but right now still at a Category 4. Sustained winds at 145 miles per hour. Moving off to the west-northwest at about 22 miles per hour. So Jamaica is right in the firing line, folks. This is a big deal. Definitely a big deal. Let's check out the latest infrared image of this beast. It looks like a re-strengthening, a redevelopment of the eye wall here. A lot of times these major hurricanes do go through that. There's really nothing in the way aside from the Jamaica area that would prevent this thing from gaining more strength. Again, it's redeveloping its strengthening eye here, as you can see, and not a good thing, because that puts Jamaica right in the line of fire. Looking at the spaghetti models here, as far as the hurricane and whatnot models go, still looking as a westward track into Mexico. Potentially, there's a couple models here showing as it comes into the Gulf of Mexico, heading up to the north and northeast here. But we'll have to watch that. Either way, it's a big-time deal. Jamaica, heads up, because that's a no joke. Big-time hurricane headed towards your area. All right, seismograph stations out here all look pretty quiet, folks. The place to visit here, if you want to know the latest information in terms of fire activity, is called watchduty.org. And you can get this for your cell phone as well. I have this on all of my devices because it's pretty important. But again, watch what's going on up here, because we got a northeastward wind, a downslope wind, going to be burning back into areas that may not have burned, but that north wind will kick up and further strengthening, pushing this fire south here tomorrow, overnight and tomorrow morning. So just be safe out there, folks. There's a lot of families out here, good people throughout Oroville, and it's definitely heartbreaking to hear and see that these guys are going through potentially what what Paradise went through a couple years ago with the campfire. So goodness, not good. So keep these guys in our thoughts here. We hope for the best, but north wind's going to kick up tonight and make for worse fire conditions out here for the Oroville area. We will cover this tomorrow morning and report back on anything that does change. Here is the latest imagery here as of 11:46 p.m. my time. Still got a decent fire out here. We go back to the last 30 minutes or so, and you can see all that smoke. A lot of fire continuing to burn out here across the Oroville area and headed up into the Kelly Ridge region. We'll catch you guys back out here in the morning, folks, and provide the latest updates. Stay safe out there, and have yourself a good night.